Here we go. Today we have Keaton Atkinson, driver of the 24K IMCA Modified. What's up, Keaton?
Oh, just getting ready for the big 3,000 win tonight and ready to go.
What's that race? I don't even know which race that is.
It's the Ron Gormley Memorial. It's the first annual, so first time they're doing it. Hopefully it's a big success.
Yeah, you've been freaking hot lately.
Yeah, last two races at Little Rock run second both nights. One to Curtis Cook and one Drew Armstrong. So we're chipping away.
What do you think? Because I've had a lot of people tell me why they think you're getting fast, and a lot of them say it's because of a crate. I disagree with them because I've put a crate in a car, and I know that. I mean, what do you think about a crate? Let's just go there. What do you think about it?
It's not like, when I was an open engine and I was talking about crates, I was like, oh, you just hold it to the floor and go, and it's definitely not like that. You got to drive them pretty hard, really more than you do an open engine. But I think that, that helped me definitely. But just working on the car, not in, not out, just staying focused and wanting to win, and Richard Lynch helping me out, setting it up, and Doug Babb and those guys, just my Paul, just everybody helping me out and getting me pointed in the right direction is really what's changed it, I think.
That's what I've told everybody. Because here's the deal. Like, I've raced with you quite a while, and you've always been a top guy. And you'd bang it out on the top, going forward or going backwards. You were up on the top. And since you got hot, you've been on the bottom. And that's the first time you've been running down there since I've ever seen you at I-30. And you're on the tires. And I've been telling people for years that, well, one, like, if your car's off a little bit, you can get something going on the top. Like, if there's a cushion up there, I'm struggling, I'm looking for some grip, that's a perfect handicap, is getting up on the top. But where you run into problems, especially with the invert, you starting further back. All it takes is one car sliding up in front of you when you're trying to get around, and then you lose. You're racing with that car for 3 or 4 laps. If you're starting 6th row, you really can't get much headway. The best year I ever had was when my car worked on the bottom, and you could everybody would shove up, and you're just, it might get you every now and then somebody spin out in front of you, but if you're fast people, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get to the front if your car would pull off the bottom. I mean, it's just how it is.
Well, I think, you need a car that'll work anywhere on the racetrack, be pretty solid all the way around. And last week there just wasn't no berm left with sprint cars being there. There was, this much of racetrack left on the top. So it was like slick top to bottom, but I could move around. Like, I made the pass for second on the top and then kind of ran the middle.
But if your car will work on the bottom, your car will work on the top.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's just sliding into that stuff and letting it eat. And, like, the thing is, man, if you can't get going on the bottom, you're just not going to come up through the field.
Right. Well, even I started on the pole 2 weeks ago, and I figured the bottom was where it was at. And when I saw Curtis go around me on the bottom, I knew it was still pretty bottom dominant. So I just stayed on the bottom,
But do you feel like your car would go on the bottom before, like it is now?
It would, but I couldn't get the entry that I wanted to. Like this crate, I can run in a lot harder and middle off. It's just got so much torque coming off the corners compared to that open, having to wait on it. You can get back to the gas a lot harder and sooner than you could with the open. So,
right, that makes sense. I've only drove a crate one time, and it didn't run right half the night. And then when I finally got it running right, I spun out. So I don't really have much of an opinion on them, but I do think getting that weight off the nose is critical. I think it makes your car rotate better. I think that their RPM band's better, and if you keep it inside that RPM band, you're gonna go somewhere.
I just think everything in general we've been working on, the whole team, working on the car, and everything's clicking, put together one good finish, and then they keep coming, just everything's working for me right now.
Well, you're real close.
Yeah.
I mean, to run second to Drew and Curtis is not, nothing to hang your hat on, because there's a lot of good guys behind you, like way behind you.
Yeah. That's what somebody was telling me, like, I'm beating some of these guys that have run there for 30 years, 20 years. And, that's pretty big to me. I was really disappointed that night I run second to Curtis because I started on the pole and lost a spot. But
you never like going backwards.
No, I always try to stay going forward.
That was when I would start somewhere. I would be like, if I can just at least finish here, I'm good. But, man, I remember when you started coming up, because there's always waves of new people that come up.
Mm-hmm.
And there was probably like you and maybe 4 other people. And when you first started, I was like, he's going to make it. Because you did, like, what people have a bad habit of is getting up there and trying to win too early. And I did it too for just a little bit. And the best thing I ever learned was, like, because especially the way we do this inverted starts, you're going to start up front all the time. The most important thing I ever learned was, like, if you just run your race, you'll find your speed. Like, if it's 6th place, you'll fall back to 6th, and then nobody will pass you again.
Right.
And you keep doing that, and then you'll start on the pole, and you might only fall back to 4th, and then that's your speed. And then you'll start on the pole, and then nobody will pass you.
Right.
But a lot of these people, they'll have, when I was coming up, it was like Randy and them, they would wear me out every week. I got started on the front row, and here come Randy or Kirkendall, somebody like that. And if you could try to follow them, but if you try to race them, man, you're going to end up probably spinning out, wrecking, and then you're not going to finish any races, and then you're never going to get anywhere.
Well, I remember my first year at Little Rock. It was one of my first, which I was in B mains a lot because I was so inexperienced, and it was my first full year in a modified. It was probably middle of the season. It was one of the bigger races, Scrap Fox, I think it was. And I was in a B main, and I was running 4th. They took 4. White flag come out. I was like, I got this. I'm in the transfer. It's not gonna be pretty, but I'll start last in the A. At least I made the show. And I come out of 2 on the bottom. Car feels pretty good. And there's this 8X car that drives around me. And I was like, man, I think I can beat him. And anyway, I didn't, and it was you. And you took the last transfer from me. And I didn't make a big show that whole year at Little Rock. And I was like, man, that was my closest. That was my best chance. And you took it from me. So
I didn't know that's what you were about to talk about.
Yeah.
But I remember that not now.
Yeah.
I think I started up front, and I ran over somebody at the beginning.
You spun out or something. I remember you going to the back, yeah.
I was so mad. I was pissed because I took off, and I had a rocket. And that was my good year.
Yeah.
And we took off, and I just didn't have the patience. And I tried to get the lead on, like, the second lap when I could have just, like, chilled and just got the lead whenever I wanted. And I ran in there. I think it was Madison. I think she ran down there, and she did something I didn't know she was going to do, and I locked it up, keep from hitting her. And I went to the back, man, and I was sitting back there. I think it was like 12 cars. And I was sitting there, and I was like, all right, I got 8 laps? I'm going to have to pass, like, I was doing the math. I was like, I got to pass 2 cars a lap.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, here we go. Dude, that's the fun stuff. But now you get to do that stuff.
Right.
Now you're that dude.
Right.
Passing people on the last lap for a transfer.
Right.
That's cool.
Well, hopefully, like, now I don't have to worry about B mains.
Yeah.
But anything can happen.
Yeah.
I've learned in racing. So last year I was high points man out of a heat. I went like 8th to 3rd in the heat in a big show. And I started, when you're high points man, you start 3rd row in a qualifier or something.
Yeah.
And broke a shifter pulling out on the racetrack. So, that ruined my night right there, and I had to start dead last in the B main. And, if there's 20 cars in the B main, they take 2. It's tough, I learned anything can happen, so you just got to stay on your toes. But, passing Weaver last week, passing Randy Weaver. That's awesome.
It's surreal.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I remember when I was a kid watching this dude, and now I'm like, it's crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I kept getting underneath him there, and I wanted the top. And I was like, well, my car's pretty good on the bottom for a heat race, So I was just kind of, and I kept getting closer and closer and closer, and I was like, I think I'm gonna pass him, And then I saw Drew's nose with 2 to go to the top, and I was like, he's gonna have a run. Sure enough, he split both of us and got around both of us. When he got by Randy, I did too. So I lost a spot, gained a spot, But
man, and a lot of that's experience, because you're sitting there, like you said, you're like, you thought to do what he did, but it's like, I tell Chuck all the time, I ride Chuck hard. I'm like, man, you got to be on the offensive. The moment that you're not, which you were with Randy, but I'm saying, like, you didn't do what in your head, you're like, man, I need to go up here, bang this thing dominant and just go on with it. But you're like halfway offensive, halfway defensive, where Drew's like offensive. And you're always going to make the right, you're not always going to make the right move doing that, but you're always going to be making moves to pass people, But yeah, your car would have done that. But now you see it, and now next time, you do the same thing. I used to watch people. I remember one night I was sitting there, and I ran second to Kirkendall, and I took the lead early, and it was on the bottom, and he got under me pretty quick, and it was just one of those races. I wasn't close to him, but we get out of the car, and we're in tech, and he's like, man. He's like, as soon as I figured out I was on the bottom, I couldn't get front brake out of the car quick enough. And I was like your age, maybe a little younger. And I was like, oh, so you want to take that out, so that way you can get that thing rotated. And like just little stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then the next time and the next time and I would just walk around in circles of like Bowers, Randy. I would just listen to them talk.
Yeah.
And I would be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to make that mistake, That's really the best way to learn.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm really vocal, and I like to walk around and sign autographs is what we like to call it, which not signing autographs, but just go around and talk to some of these guys, sitting in a circle of, Baser and Weaver and Drew and Shayberg and all these guys. I think it's really cool, Chris. Just everybody, because you can learn from anybody,
You really can.
Just listening to what they say and what they're talking about, you can learn from them,
and you get a lot better faster that way.
Right.
And dude, I've seen so many kids, even when I start up, like Drew and Brad kind of came up together, but there was lots of people that tried to come up with us. And I don't race anymore, but like you see them start falling out, and those are the people that are always getting in wrecks, always tearing their cars up, because they're not like walking before they can run. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't know where they're at. And a lot of them come up from go-karts, and they're kicking ass in go-karts, and you're like, well, you're like my dad, we did E-mods before I did mods at BB. And when they shut down, he was like, man, well, I took my 3-link out there and got my ass whooped first. And I was like, well, this is not an option.
Right.
like I'm not racing this car. And he was like, yeah. So I was 18. I got a credit card. He helped me get a credit card. And I went and bought a Shaw car, like the kit to put it together.
Yeah.
And I put the whole thing together by myself. And he was like, man, you're not going to win for a long time, because we were doing pretty good in E-mod. And he was like, you're probably not even going to run a top 5. And he was like, do you want a hobby car? Because you could win in that. Like, I know you could. And I was like, no, I want to do this. I want to challenge. And like, I always took it that way, but I always knew where I was. Like, I was like, I'm not Scott Blomqvist out here.
Right.
Like, you got to know where you're at, man. And I remember I used to have a problem. I would tear a body off a car every night. Every night I would come in, and at some point in the race, I'd hit somebody and rip the door off, and I'd get so mad. And I would be like, Dad, I just don't get it. Like, these people cannot drive. They are just everywhere, and they're hitting me, and it's pissing me off. And I'm like, I'm sick and tired of putting this freaking door on every week. And one day it just clicked with me. I watched Randy roll in without a scratch on. Watched my dad roll in without a scratch on. Jeremy, and I'm like, they're racing with the same people I'm racing with, and they're not ripping their doors off. So, like, maybe there's something I'm doing wrong that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I didn't suck. I knew I didn't suck. So I was like, well, it's obviously not my fault. These people are just hitting me. But it's like you can learn how to avoid them. And, like, man, if you're open to seeing what you do wrong, you're going to get a lot faster.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't like body work. I have to do body work sometimes. But my only damage from the past 2 weeks from Little Rock, you know, was hitting the wall last week on lap 3. Just went ahead and got it out of the way early. I don't know why. I guess I'm just so focused on entry, and I just drive in there and I hit the wall, and I'm like, well, I didn't mean to do that. I hope I didn't knock the T-bar out of it or something, you know.
Do you run those corner pieces on your right rear? Have you seen those?
No.
You need to come look at my car tonight. They Chandler hooked us up, so on your T-bar, the last foot of it, take a piece of aluminum, make a triangle out of it, and don't have the T. Half the time when you hit the wall, it doesn't even take it off. Yeah. But if it does, we got replacement pieces. You just bolt them up. It like goes flat right here. So then it's got like this much of the decking under it. That's what late model people do.
Yeah.
And like the new Rage chassis, all these like lethal, the real nice ones, that's what they're all doing now.
Well, I bent the T-bar.
I hate T-bars.
Probably 2 months ago at Little Rock, and Doug straightened it back, and we put it together, and you know, I'm just trying not to hit the wall anymore, I guess.
I know. My dad's the world worst about hitting the wall, so we had to do something.
You just never know, you know?
Yeah.
Like it comes out of nowhere.
And then sometimes, man, I don't mind hitting with the right rear. The worst ones is when you hit it with the right front.
I have not done that yet, and I don't plan on
hurts.
hitting. Yeah.
It hurts bad, man. I did it first time I ever made a lap around Plummerville. Have you ever raced at Plummerville?
One time, yeah.
The wall does a D. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
I came out of 4, man, in hot laps and smoked it where that D comes. Busted my knee up. I was like, God, I hate this. I hate that place, man. I know, like, it's got a lot of mile an hour, but I could just never get my car to work there, ever.
I like going different places, you know, because you learn how to drive on different racetracks. You know, we went up to West Plains, Missouri a month ago, and that was a really fun racetrack, and I ran pretty good up there. So I like traveling and trying out some different places.
Well, getting on different dirt's nice.
Right.
You know, but then you got to, the thing about it is, like, we went to West Plains about a month ago, and he was real good there, and we came back, and we were too tight for the dirt at I-30 with the same stuff. It's just like it didn't have that grip like West Plains did. In Diamond Park, you know Diamond Park,
right?
That place the same way, man.
Yeah.
You'll flip in hot laps trying to go
Promise
you.
I
Man, that place, I gotta do. Anybody, I mean, I'm not calling people liars, but if you say you go to Diamond Park and run your Little Rock setup, I'm probably not gonna believe you.
Yeah.
My car won't even turn.
Well, like last year, I went up there twice, I guess, and the one time I did, you guys won that night. But I went up there the first night, and I was on all my Little Rock stuff, and I won out of 20 cars.
Really?
Yeah, it didn't change anything.
Really?
No gears or nothing.
Was it tacky?
It seemed like it slicked up towards the end. I can't really remember.
Dude, my thing is like 3 and 4 there. If I run my Little Rock stuff, I've got to wait to pick up the throttle till I'm almost spun out.
See,
then it'll like bring it back around.
If it's hooked up, like I'm wide open.
Yeah.
Like hard as I can.
And you run the same setup?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I believe you.
While we were talking about Diamond Park, my first, handful of races, I showed up there for a Thanksgiving race and had a really good car, had a fast car, spun out with like 5 to go or something in the feature. There was this 1X car. You remember it? Red.
I remember I took you out.
Did you?
Yeah, in the heat race.
Yeah. Well, I think that happened, and then I got too excited, and I hit Justin Prude, I think is his name, 16 car, and I knocked the tire off of it. He was mad at me, but we're good buddies now.
In the heat?
Yeah.
I remember I did run my lower rock setup that night.
Yeah.
And that's what told me never to do that again.
Well, I was still faster than you.
You were.
You were just blocking.
I was blocking like
yeah.
crazy. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I had an outlaw car I was taking that night, and it broke. I was gonna run. They had 2 classes. I was gonna run both. My outlaw car broke, and I took that one. And it was real. That was when it was really rolling at I-30, and I was like, I'm not changing a thing, dude. And that's when I figured out, like, you got to wait on that thing so long to get off 4, and that was the hardest race I've ever won, because I was like, every lap going in 3 and 4, I would have to tell myself, I'd be like, wait, because like your brain's like,
right,
your muscles, like, especially when you've been driving for a while, they're just ready to hit the gas. And I had to be like, every lap, I'm not joking, every lap,
no.
I was like, don't touch the gas, don't touch the gas. All right, now touch the gas. And then
Well, you know what you needed to do?
What?
Open your entry.
Maybe.
That's all you needed to do.
That was so long ago.
Yeah. But if you would have opened up your entry, I definitely would have drove in there.
That's why I probably did. Looking back, I think because in the heat, man, I thought I was checked out. And then I was opening my entry. And then I remember we went down to 3, and I went to turn down in, and I hit you, and I felt pretty bad about that. I think I came and told you sorry.
I don't remember. I do remember though. Well, that now that you're talking about your blocking, it makes me know that you were, upset that there was a young kid out there all over you.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna let you pass me.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't have hit you if you tried to pass me.
Yes, you would have.
No, I wouldn't have put you in. If you got like here, I would have been like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
But no, man, I definitely couldn't let you beat me then.
Yeah.
Because you hadn't even been to I-30 one time.
No, that was only I was like 3 months into racing.
That was in my head.
So
believe it, like you're not lying.
Yeah.
Like I was like, golly, I can't let him pass me, or I'm never gonna get home, because I definitely should win this race.
Yeah.
Man, it's stressful when you start thinking like that.
Yeah.
And that's what stressed me out about racing, man, is I started thinking, like, every time I go out there, like, people, I don't know if you've ever seen me mad at the races. Maybe.
Possibly. Maybe. Yeah.
Well, I kind of get mad sometimes, but it was because I cared so much. And, like, I'd go out there, somebody turn my car up, or I would do something, and then it's just, like, all those emotions build up, and you're just, like, you look like an ass. And I don't like that.
Right. If I get out, like if I'm mad, I'll get out of my car and, be mad for, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. And then just try to, keep a smile on my face and act like, nothing's wrong when there is. That's my biggest, I've learned, carrying yourself.
No, that's a lot more constructive. Don't get out and throw things.
Yeah,
that's what I did.
Not a good idea.
Well, you just look terrible. And I'm a really nice person. And this dude that came and worked with me, it never met me in his life. He was like, I remember one night you were running second and a lap car took you out, and you got out and beat the shit out of your car on the front straightaway. And I was like, oh, that's what you think about me.
Well, when I first started racing go-karts, my sportsmanship was awful. I'd be the first one to be like, throw my hands up or, point at somebody or yell or, just make a scene. And I've learned that's not what you do. That is not what you do.
No. I spun out driving my dad's car in that qualifier. And I don't know what race it was. It's the only one I did this year. And I laughed.
Yeah.
I felt good about that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I was like back to having fun,
whatever happens, like the night I blew up. Engine blew up. I had to run a B main. How
did you run a B main?
It wasn't a good night, but I smiled.
How did you run a B main?
What do you mean?
If your engine blew up?
Well, it blew up after. I run the B main.
I thought you were saying you ran a B main because your engine blew up.
I was the last one to transfer, second to last to transfer in, and we were in the A when it blew up. And I broke a left front control arm in a shock. It was just a bad night, but I smiled. So.
That's all you can do. And you have a pretty smile, Keaton.
Thank you.
That's why you have so many fans.
Yeah, I got my braces off 3 years ago.
It's the best thing that ever happened.
I promise.
Well, man, I really appreciate you coming in. It was a good talk. And good luck tonight, buddy.
Is it over? That's it?
That's it.
We're done.
We're done.
Okay.
Till next time. You can come back.
I'll definitely come back.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you.